Hello and welcome everyone. Myself Mijanur Rahaman, and today my topic of discussion is about basophil, monocyte, lymphocyte. So these are our today's topic. Now we are discussing about the functions of the WBC or the leukocyte, and in the previous video we have already covered about the neutrophil and eosinophil. Now we will try to discuss about the basophils. So let's start. Basophil play an important role in the healing process. So it is very important in the healing process. Our channel name is also Healing Hope. Please subscribe this one. Healing Hope, and it is a healing process. So basophils play an important role or a major role in the healing process, so their number increases during the healing processes. And basophil also play an important role in allergy or acute hypersensitivity reaction like allergies, and this is because of the presence of receptors of for IgE in basophil membrane. And now the mechanism of action of basophils. Functions of basophils are executed by the release of some important substances from their granules such as heparin, histamine, protease, and myeloperoxidase. So let us discuss one by one. First of all, heparin. Heparin is more essential to prevent the intravascular blood clotting, and the histamine, that is a slow reacting substances of anaphylaxis, and bradykinin and serotonin. These substances produce the acute hypersensitivity reaction by causing the vascular and tissue responses. Now, proteases and myeloperoxidases, these enzymes destroy the microorganisms, and the cytokine, that is it is a interleukin 4 which accelerate the inflammatory responses and kill the invading organism. Then mast cell. Mast cell is a large tissue cell resembling the basophil, and generally the mast cell are found along with the blood vessels and are prominently seen in the areas such as the skin, mucosa of the lungs and the digestive tract, mouth, conjunctiva, and nose. And these cells usually do not enter the bloodstream. Then the origin. Mast cells are developed in the bone marrow, and but their precursor cells are different. After differentiation of the immature mast cell, they enter the tissue, and maturation of the mast cell takes place only after entering the tissue. Now, function. Mast cell plays an important role in the producing of hypersensitivity reaction like allergy and anaphylaxis. When activated, the mast cell immediately releases various chemical mediators from its granules into the intestinum, and the two types of substances are secreted by the mast cell. One is preformed mediators and newly generated mediators. So what is preformed mediators? These substances are already formed and stored in the secretory granules, and these substances are like histamine, heparin, serotonin, hydrolytic enzyme, the proteoglycans, and chondroitin sulfates. Now, the newly generated mediators, these substances are absent in the mast cell during the resting condition and are produced only during activation. And these substances are arachidonic acid derivatives such as the leukotriene C, LTC, and prostaglandin and cytokines. So, these are the newly generated mediators. So, what is about the basophil? Basophil releases or substances which secrete are eosinophil peroxidase, which is helpful in destruction of worms, bacteria, and tumor cells. This is for eosinophil. Now we will discuss about the basophil. In case of basophil, there is a heparin, which prevent the intravascular blood clotting. Then histamine, bradykinin, and serotonin produces the acute hypersensitivity reaction like allergy. Then the proteases and myeloperoxidase, these are helpful for destruction of microorganisms, and interleukin 4, help in acceleration of the inflammatory response and destruction of invading organisms. Now, monocytes. Monocytes are the largest cell among the leukocytes. Like neutrophils, monocytes are also motile and phagocytic in nature, and these cells wander freely through all tissues of the body. And monocytes play an important role in defense mechanism of the body, and along with the neutrophils, these leukocytes provide the first line of defense. Monocytes secretes the interleukin 1, colony stimulating factor MCSF, then the platelet activating factor or PAF. And monocytes are the precursors of the tissue macrophages, and matured monocytes stay in the blood only for a few hours, Afterwards, these cells enter the tissue from the blood and become tissue macrophages. Examples of the tissue macrophages are Kupffer cells in the liver and alveolar macrophages in the lungs and macrophages in the spleen. Function of the macrophages are discussed in the chapter 24. We will discuss in the later part. Then in the chart, the monocyte, the interleukin 1, which accelerate the inflammatory response and destruction of the invading organisms, colony stimulating factor, that formation of the colony forming blastocyte, then platelet activating factor of PAF, which is helpful in aggregation of platelets, and chemokines that help in chemotaxis. Then the lymphocytes. Lymphocytes play an important role in the immunity, and functionally the lymphocytes are classified into two categories, namely T lymphocyte and B lymphocyte. T lymphocytes are responsible for the development of cellular immunity, and B lymphocytes are responsible for the blood development of humoral immunity. And the function of these two types of lymphocyte are explained in the detail in chapter 17. We will discuss in that chapter also. And in the table, the T lymphocyte and B lymphocyte. The T lymphocyte secretes the interleukin 2, 4 and 5, which accelerate the inflammatory response, destruction of invading organisms, activation of T cells, and gamma interferon, which stimulates the phagocytic action of the cytotoxic cell, macrophages and natural killer cells. Then lysosomal enzymes, which helps in destruction of invading organisms. Then tumor necrosis factor, which helps in necrosis of tumor, activation of immune system, promotion of inflammation, and chemokines, which help in chemotaxis. Then the B lymphocyte, which releases immunoglobulins, which helps in destruction of invading organisms. Then tumor necrosis factor helps in necrosis of tumor, activation of immune system, acceleration of inflammatory response. Then chemokines, which helps in chemotaxis. Then we will discuss the leucopoiesis. Leucopoiesis is the development and maturation of leukocytes. You can see in the diagram. The pluripotent stem cell has two types of cell, like lymphoid stem cell and colony forming blastocyte. The lymphoid stem cell produces lymphoblast, which further produces the lymphocytes. Okay. Then colony forming blastocyte, which forms the colony forming unit erythrocyte and colony forming unit M or platelets, and colony forming unit GM. From the colony forming unit GM, the myeloblast is produced, and from myeloblast there are two types of cell, that is promyelocyte and monoblast. From the monoblast there is promonocyte and then monocyte. And from the promyelocyte there is neutrophil myelocyte, basophil myelocyte and eosinophil myelocyte. From there the neutrophil metamyelocyte, basophil metamyelocyte and eosinophil metamyelocyte, and from this the neutrophil, basophil and eosinophil is produced. So all the granulocytes or the neutrophil, basophil, eosinophil are produced from in the promyelocyte, and the monocyte from the monoblast, and the lymphocyte from the lymphoblast, and monoblast is coming from the myeloblast, and lymphoblast coming from lymphoid stem cell. So these are the producing mechanism of the WBC or the leukocytes, and this process is known as leucopoiesis. So what is leucopoiesis? Leucopoiesis is nothing but it is a process, or it is a mechanism in which the development and maturation of WBC and leukocyte are included or mentioned. Now, what are the stem cells? Stem cells are committed pluripotent stem cell gives rise to leukocytes and through the various stages. And factors necessary for leucopoiesis. Leucopoiesis is influenced by homeopoietic growth factors and colony stimulating factors, and homeopoietic growth factors are discussed in chapter 10. Then colony stimulating factor. The colony stimulating factor CSF are proteins which cause the formation of colony forming blastocytes, and colony forming factors are of three types: granulocyte CSF secreted by monocytes and endothelial cells. Then granulocyte monocyte CSF or GM-CSF, which is secreted by the monocytes, endothelial cells and T lymphocytes. And the monocyte CSF, the MCSF, is secreted by the monocytes and endothelial cells. So today we have covered the function of WBC. So in the previous video we have completed two WBC. One is the neutrophil and eosinophil, and in this video we have covered about the basophil, then the lymphocyte, monocyte, and now the leucopoiesis is also discussed. So in the next video we'll try to discuss an important part of the physiology, that is immunity. So if you have any query or doubt related to these topics or WBC function, you can ask in the comment section and I will try to reply them all. Do like, share and subscribe to my channel for supporting me and my channel, and thank you so much for watching the entire video.